Good morning, grade 9. I am Ma'am Joverlyn and I am here to explain what is photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide, which is exhaled by animals and humans, and water are broken into carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and then converted again into glucose and oxygen, which will be used as a source of energy. There are two stages in photosynthesis. First one is the light-dependent stage, which requires light to break down water and then later on produces ATP, which is a form of energy used by the cell, and NADPH, which boosts this energy. In this stage, oxygen is also produced. The second stage of photosynthesis is light-independent stage. This stage is also called Calvin cycle or dark reaction stage. This stage uses the ATP or the energy and NADPH, which is the booster, from the light dependency stage. This stage breaks down carbon dioxide to form glucose. Let's talk about the three stages of Calvin cycle or the light-independent stage. In the first stage of the Calvin cycle, the six molecules of carbon dioxide is broken down into two 3-carbon groups to form 3-GPA. In the second stage, the two 3-GPA will be converted into glucose by using ATP and NADPH, which was produced during the light-dependent stage. In the third stage, the remaining 3-GPA will be converted to G3P to continue with another cycle. That's why it is called Calvin cycle. So the third stage must be repeated 6 times to get the G3P. Organisms, like plants and animals, need energy to function. How do we use this energy we obtain from other organisms? Our topic, photosynthesis, taught us how we get this energy. Do you remember the food chain? In food chain, the energy from the sun will be absorbed by the grass, and through photosynthesis, it will be converted into glucose, which will then give energy to the plant. When the cow, which is a first-order consumer, consumes the grass, the energy in the form of glucose will be transferred to the cow. The energy from the cow will be transferred to human when the human consumes the cow. But how do humans use this glucose as a source of energy? Cellular respiration. It is a process of turning energy stored in food in the form of glucose into ATP, which is a usable energy for the cells. This happens inside the mitochondria, or the powerhouse of the cell. The first stage of cellular respiration is glycolysis. Glycolysis does not require oxygen because it converts glucose into pyruvate. Pyruvate is a more usable form of glucose together with ATP and NADH. Pyruvate is then converted into acetyl-CoA and then produces carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is then released from the cell. Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle. It is the second stage of cellular respiration. During this stage, the acetyl-CoA produced will be broken down to form citric acid. Citric acid is a 6-carbon molecule. This citric acid will then oxidize or use the oxygen which was produced during photosynthesis, and it will cause the release of carbon dioxide that produces the NADH, ATP, FADH. These are electron carriers that will proceed to electron transport chain. The last stage is the electron transport chain. In this process, the electron carrying NADH and FADH transports the hydrogen electron, which will generate proton pump that passes the ATP synthesis that will produce more ATP. Hydrogen from NADH and FADH combines with the oxygen, thus producing water. and produces also more ATP. The product of photosynthesis, which is glucose and oxygen, will be used by the cells of either plant, animal, or human as energy source through the cellular respiration. The product of cellular respiration, which is carbon dioxide and water, will then be used by the plants to perform photosynthesis. This process will be repeated multiple times for our survival.